Welcome everybody to Evolve Stretch 1. I'm Jana. In this set, we're going to give you 3 different techniques, 2 stretches per technique, and we're going to do them twice so you get an opportunity to find more range of motion each time. I want you to think of it today like a spa day for your muscles. You're going to rejuvenate, restore, and everything we do today is going to help you with all your other Evolve programming, and you're just going to feel better. So I'm going to introduce your fantastic mods. This is Bartek, and he is going to be your mod 1. How you doing today, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good, I hope you're feeling nice and tight today. Just kidding. So if you know you have a little bit less range of motion, this is where you're gonna be looking. Bartek's gonna give you lots of different options on how to work safely within your own limitations. And then back here, we got my big guy, Kamar. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, ready to stretch?
All right. If you're an athlete at home, this is your guy. We got a basketball player here, a little bit tighter in the body. He's our mod 2, and you're gonna look for him if you need to find something in between mod 1 and mod 3. Yeah, all right, you good? And then we have the lovely Shar. How you doing today? Good. And this is your mod 3. So if you know you have a little bit more range of motion and flexibility, you're gonna be looking towards Shar, and she's gonna look beautiful and give you lots of options for those nice long lines. Again, if anything that we do today does not make sense and you just need a little bit more education, feel free to come see me in the tutorials and we'll give you the step-by-step on how to get into these stretches. Remember, you can always evolve up or mod down depending on your level. Okay. So we're gonna get into our first style of stretching, which is called contract and relax. What we try to do here is we try to shock the muscles a little bit. So we inhale and we hold the breath. And then as we exhale, we try to move into what we call a different barrier of stretch. So it becomes a little bit different than typical static stretching in that we're actually moving with our breath and there's action in the body. All right, so we're gonna start with a nice stretch here for those pectoral muscles. And we're gonna begin with our feet hip distance apart. You're gonna reach your right arm up, just past your right shoulder, and reach your left arm down, doors I flex the hands, and then you're gonna take a peek to the left. Now the idea here is to inhale, you're gonna hold the breath, and then as you exhale, you're gonna move into that next barrier of stretch. So let's do this first one together. Take a big inhale, you're gonna hold the breath for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now as you exhale, you're gonna imagine squeezing a grate between your shoulder blades behind you. That's it, let's find the breath. Take a big inhale, everybody, breathe in. Good, pause, hold your breath. It feels like you're holding longer than you actually are. And then as you exhale, you're gonna think about squeezing those shoulder blades together and reaching those middle fingers together behind you. Great. And we're getting into all of these nice muscle groups, right into the fronts of the shoulders and into the fronts of the chest. So all of that work you've been doing in your Evolve programming, we're now gonna stretch those muscles, all those push-ups, all that action you've been doing. Now we get to finally stretch those muscles. Now this is mod 1, so this is Bartek. So if you know you're a little bit tighter in the pecs and the shoulders, you're gonna leave one arm down, and we're gonna have less range of motion in the wrist. And maybe after a few weeks of practicing your stretch, you're gonna have that full range of motion in the front line, and you're gonna have full dorsiflexion of the hands. And then slowly changing sides. So just bringing both hands back down to neutral. We clench the breath in between. Take an inhale, you guys. And now just let it go, big exhale. And what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So reach that opposite arm up, right hand down just below your hip, dorsiflex the hands, and then take a peek over your right shoulder. And now let's find the breath. Take a big inhale, let me hear you breathe. Hold a little bit longer. And then as you exhale, imagine pushing that top hand into a wall behind you. And then we go again. Inhale, hold the breath, it's quiet. And then big exhale, reach those shoulder blades together. And as you can see with Kamar here, he's really keeping the face really relaxed. He's almost smiling, eyes are soft. And even these little mechanics in the face can move us into more range of motion. So just kind of check in with your body right now and see if you're actually grimacing your eyes in your face. Relax the jaw, relax the eyes. Good, let's go for one more big inhale. Good, big exhale, Shar, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Beautiful, this is your mod 3. And then coming out with a lot of awareness. So bring your eyes forward, take a big inhale. Let that go, you guys. Big exhale. I feel stretched just listening to you guys. All right, so let's stretch those hip flexors into the psoas. So gonna reach that right leg back. And you're gonna reach that opposite hand up towards the ceiling. Good. And then the left hand comes down by the hip. The hands are in dorsal flexion. And then we start that same breathing pattern. So take that big inhale, fill yourself up, hold the breath. And then as you exhale, you're thinking opposition here. So as that right hand is lifting up and over, you're pushing the right hip forward and squeezing the glute here. So we talk about the hip flexor as being like the parking brake of the human body. The most popular job is sitting at a desk, right? So if you're sitting there all day long, that hip starts to get all banged up. So we try to find this flexibility here, opening through that front body and finding just a little range of motion into those tight hips and into the quad. Again, this is our mod 1. So if you're a little bit less flexible, you're gonna have the hands on the hips, you're gonna have a shorter distance between the feet. Good, and you're gonna work here until we get that mobility into the hip flexor. How you doing here, buddy?
I can still feel it, like, even all here, even though I'm not as flexible as sharp.
This is not a competition, right? And that's the important thing. You need to work within your own body's limitations, right? Doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It's what feels good in your body that's important. Let's go to the other side. So slowly step your feet together, and then we'll do the other side. So step that opposite leg back, come into your lunge position, reach that arm up towards the ceiling, and then start the breath. Take a big inhale. Let me hear you breathe. There's a pause. Pause. And then as you exhale, think of squeezing that left butt cheek forward as you push the hip forward. This is great. And again, if you're nice and tall in your body, you're gonna have this long space between your legs, right? You're working within what you're born with, right? If you're tall, you have a longer stance, right? Good. And remember, when you're doing all your evolve squats and all those evolve lunges, and you feel that kind of burning sensation in your hip flexor, that's like the engine light going off in your car, right? You need to deal with it. So this is how we're dealing with it. You're coming to stretch, we're working it out, and not only is this gonna give you more freedom of movement and make you feel better, all that stuff that you're doing in your agility and strength, you're gonna see better results. Take one more breath, you guys. Big inhale. Big exhale, squeeze that butt cheek, push the hip forward. You guys are awesome. Awareness as you come out. Use your core, step the feet back up to center. Good. Take a big inhale, everybody. Open the jaw. Relax, exhale. We are gonna go into our second set of pectoral and the pec major and minor muscle. All right, so let's start with those feet hip distance apart. Reach that opposite arm up, so right arm comes up again, left arm down. Good, and we're dorsal flexing the hand, which means you're just drawing the fingertips towards your shoulder. So instead of the hand being like this is dorsiflexion, and this is what we're working for. Let's go, take a big inhale. Good, pause, pause. And then big exhale, good, push that opposite hand down. Wow, so as you can see, doing the second set, you already get a result, right? Do you feel like you have more range here already, big guy? Sorry, it's hard to talk, I know, while you're doing this stuff, but if you can feel this in your own body, right, just by doing one stretch and then doing it again, we've already created that new barrier, that muscle memory. So your body, just by being here for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, has already found more range of motion. So while you're here, give yourself a pat on the back. How you doing here, Bartek?
I'm really good.
Good. And again, this is our mod 1, Bartek, right? We're working within our limitations. We got tight shoulders, tight pecs. We're still getting a great result here. Do you feel looser this time?
Yeah, I can push my hand back even further.
Awesome. Take a breath, let it go. All right, you guys, and then coming out of this with a lot of awareness, bring the hand down, turn the head face forward, and let's cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale. I'll do it with you. Big exhale, let go. All right, and let's do that other side. So reach that left arm up, right arm comes down, plant your feet, dorsal flex the hand, take a peek over your right shoulder. And now let's find the breath. Big inhale, breathe in, holding the breath, and then exhale. So if all of this is just too much and the pace is just a little bit too much, make sure you go to your tutorials. You can really set up your body and practice proper form. By practicing proper form, you're even gonna get better results. Great. That's it. Let me hear you breathe, girl. Big inhale. The breath is just gonna move you even more. Breathe it out. Big exhale. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. How do you feel during the second side?
A lot looser.
Yeah, and even Shar, who has lots of flexibility, even if you think you have range of motion, you probably even have more with this technique that maybe your body has never seen before. Great, take one more. Beautiful. And then again, coming out with a lot of awareness. So slowly bring the hands down, eyes face forward. Let's cleanse the breath. Take a big inhale, big exhale, let it go. All right, we're gonna go into that psoas hip flexor stretch for the other side. So let's step that right foot back, reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, doors I flex the hand, and that other hand is just trailing beside your left hip, doors I flexion of that hand. And let's start with the breath. So take a big inhale, breathe in, holding the breath, and then exhale. Great. So the idea here, when we hold the breath like that, we're kind of tricking the nervous system. We're almost stressing the nervous system out a little bit. So then when we move into that exhale, the body relaxes. And when the body is relaxed, we find more range of motion. Good. So again, if you have a job that requires you to sit all day long, or you drive your kids around from sport to sport, you need to be doing this one almost every single day. Release those hip flexors. Let's take 2 more big breaths, you guys. I'll count them with you. Big inhale. I want you to hold the breath, but relax the face and the eyes. Hold. And then use the breath. Exhale. You're squeezing that right butt cheek as you push that hip forward. Think opposition. That's it. Awesome. Breathe. Exhale. Beautiful. And then coming out with a lot of awareness, bring those arms down by the sides, turn your face to face forward, step the feet together. Big inhale, guys, cleanse the breath. Big exhale, and we'll do the other side. So stepping that opposite foot back, reach that arm up, and we'll start our breathing. Big inhale, and let it go, big exhale. Great. So remember, what we do to one side of the body, we must do to the other side of the body. And the whole Evolve program is about balancing the body in terms of strength and flexibility. So all of that work that you've been doing in your body and your strength and agility and core and balance, we're now getting the opportunity to find that great balance by finding the flexibility in all of those muscles you've been working. This is the healthiest thing you could do for your body at this point. This is your mod 1, right? This is bar tech. We got a little bit less flexibility here. You're squeezing that butt cheek forward. Great. How do you feel on the second side?
I can definitely feel it all down my quad, especially on the inside.
Awesome. And you might find the second time that you do the stretch might move, right? Because once you open one muscle, you might access a second muscle that we don't even know about until we move into the second side. Great. And then coming out, take a breath, you guys. Safety, navel pulls in. Safety first. Step those feet together and let's breathe. Take a big inhale, let it go. Exhale. So we're gonna move into our second technique, which is called myofascia stretching. Now think of myofascia like the honey in your cupboard, right? If you just keep that honey in the cupboard, it gets all hard and you can't really put it in your tea. You can't do anything with it, right? What we're gonna do is warm up the honey. We're gonna get all that myofascia warm, and this is gonna give you profound results in terms of range of motion. All right, so let's go, you guys. We'll start with this first myofascia. We're gonna come to lie on our back, and we're gonna work the whole right side of our body. So reaching that right arm behind you, arms are out like a T, good, legs are forward. And again, the breath here is a little bit different. We're gonna breathe in for 2, exhale for 2, and then there's gonna be a pause at the most extent part of your stretch, all right? So let's go, you guys. Big inhale, tap that right hand towards that right knee. And then as you exhale, you're reaching that right hand back as you reach the opposite toe forward. Again, inhale, come in. Big exhale. So this is our anterior oblique line side stretch. So we're using our opposition here, that middle finger, all the way to that right big toe. So we're getting this beautiful stretch from the middle finger all the way. Push that toe down into the floor. So this is your mod 3. This is sharp. So if you know you have range of motion, this is where you're going. Now over here with our mod 1, if you're fairly new to stretching, right? Or maybe this is your first time even doing a stretch exercise like this. This is what your posture, your movement is gonna look like. You're gonna keep a bend in that knee. Good. Your hand may or may not touch the floor. Don't force it down, right? We wanna work within the limitations of our body. This is important. Go inside, make sure it feels great. All right, you guys, and then we'll transition to the other side. So finish that last breath. Let's lift the left leg up and left hand to left knee. Big inhale for 1, 2, and now big exhale for 1, 2. Pause at the stretch. Good. Big inhale. 1, 2. big exhale. So as you can see here with our mod 2 Kamar, we're stretching from that middle finger all the way down to that left big toe. So that whole line of the body is getting a nice stretch. I'm gonna ask you in between, how you doing here, Kamar?
Feeling good. I feel
Good.
stretch all the way from, like you said, down the obliques.
Which again, these movements are gonna help you with all of your evolved stuff. All those Saxon side bends you've been doing, all the rotators you've been doing, this is gonna give you more range of motion while you perform those exercises. All right, you guys finish that last one and we'll change. Take a big inhale, let it go, big exhale. Great. And then slowly coming up to a seated position. So we're gonna move into our second exercise for the myofascia. You're gonna start with your knees bent. We're gonna bring the arms behind us, and you're just gonna let your knees kind of fall from left to right. And we're gonna do a stretch, it's called a 3D back stretch. And this one is awesome for all of those muscles in our entire back. And then we'll let our knees fall to the left. Now I want you to peek over your right shoulder and see your right hand. Now your eyes are gonna stay on that right hand. So where your eyes go, your spine goes. So keep looking, reach that right arm all the way up and over. Keep looking at that right hand, keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. And then place it right on top of the left hand and then give me a little peek. Look over your left shoulder. And then we go again. So big inhale, look at that right hand, keep tracing the ceiling with that right middle finger. As soon as it touches the floor, you switch. You look back at your left hand, good, and you bring the legs up and over, peeking over that right shoulder. And then again, we move with the breath here. So big inhale, follow the movement. Where your eyes go, your spine goes. So we want to keep the spine nice and long here. And as we keep the spine nice and long, we properly stretch all of the muscles that surround it. So the upper, the middle, and the lower back. Right, you guys? And then go back to your breath. Big inhale. Good, big exhale. So this is our mod 1 here with Bartek. He is not putting his hand on top of the other hand. He's just placing it beside, which is exactly what you do if you know you have a little bit of a tighter back. Good, but he's still keeping his eye on the prize. All right, all the way up. Good, and all the way over. Awesome. Big inhale. Keep those eyes up. Where your eyes go, your body goes. And finish it off. Let me hear you exhale. And pause, beautiful. And then just coming back to neutral position. Good. Take a big inhale. Let's do that all again, going into our second set of myofascia. Reach those arms out like a T. And now I want you to go inside your body this time and see if you can move a little bit deeper in your range of motion, or just observe if you feel like you have a little bit more freedom of movement. So let's go. Bring that right hand towards the right knee. This is your inhale for 1, 2, big exhale. This is Shar, she's our mod 3, and she's getting that full line. So we're inhaling, and she's exhaling. So this is what we're working towards, to be able to one day push that right middle finger and that right big toe right onto the floor. Now, if this isn't where you're at today, maybe you're here, and the foot and the hand are just barely touching the floor. Or maybe the second time you do this, you've gone from a mod 2 to your mod 3. Good, big inhale. How you doing on the second side here, Kamar?
Feels a lot better now.
Good, it feels a lot better. Good. The main thing about this is just accepting where you are today. And this is the beautiful thing about our bodies, is they change from day to day. They evolve from day to day. So it's always working with how your body feels right now. This is an important message for yourself. So think about that as you're stretching your body. How do you feel right now? Great. And this is our mod 1, moving beautifully. Even a little more range of motion this time, hey? Trying. Don't try too hard though. You want to let the breath move your body. So big inhale. Let the breath move you, big exhale. All right, you guys, so we'll change sides, come back into that T position. Take a breath in between, cleanse the breath, big inhale. Let it go, big exhale. All right, so tapping that left knee to that left hand, big inhale, and then move all the way across, big exhale. Inhale for 1, 2, exhale. Finish the breath, finish the movement. Inhale, 2, exhale. Pause, continue moving. So again, just go into your breath. Maybe close your eyes. Take a moment and just realize that if you function better, even just here doing something really simple, all your body's basic movements will perform better. So you're doing something really great for your body. Stay here for one more breath. Big inhale and exhale. Great. And then slowly coming out of this, so just come back to your neutral position. And we'll make our way into our second set for that 3D back stretch. Toes out in front. Go ahead, give your toes a big look and see if you need a pedicure or not. Kamar, do you need a pedicure back there, buddy? Oh, you wore shoes.
Oh, exactly.
That's fine. And if you hate your feet, you just keep wearing your shoes. It doesn't matter as long as you're stretching with me. Just keep stretching. All right. And now let those knees fall to the left. Good. Peek over your right shoulder. Find that right hand. Keep the eyes on the hand. Big inhale. That's it. And then big exhale. Big inhale. Follow that right hand up. Now this is where Bartek usually likes to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Go ahead, hit it, Bartek.
Why does it put me on the spot? I haven't warmed up my vocal cords.
That's in the next set of stretching. Good, big inhale. Keep breathing, everybody. Big exhale. Great. So if you're a mod 3 in your strength and your agility and your core and balance, more than likely you're gonna be a mod 1 with stretching. So this is sometimes where we gotta get a little bit humble and let go of our egos and just realize that maybe all that strength is tightening our body. We're gonna start here and progress. All right, you guys, coming out of this. Big inhale, release, cleanse the breath. All right. So we're going into our third technique for the stretch component of the Evolve Stretch 1, which is mobility. So sometimes we think our quads are tight or our calves are tight, and sometimes it just has to do with the joints that are either above them or below them. So we're gonna find some mobility in those joints, and by loosening those joints and keeping them nice and juicy, we'll start to find more range of motion in all those nice tight muscles. We're gonna move into our first mobility stretch, which is called the cat camel. So you're gonna get down on those hands and those knees. You're gonna clean the floor, and somebody's gonna be really happy. Just kidding. All right, so bring those hands underneath the shoulder. Your knees are gonna be under the hips, and all we're doing here is just extending and flexing the spine. So you're gonna lift your chest up, lift your tailbone up, and then exhale, you're gonna round the spine. And you're gonna move pretty quickly here. So we're trying to find a little bit of speed here. Inhaling, exhaling. That's it, just keep breathing and moving your body. Again, if you're more of a mod 3 here like Shar, you're gonna have this longer distance between your hands and your knees, and you're really gonna see some exaggeration here from the flexion into the extension. Good. Now, if you're a mod 1, here like my friend Bartek, you're really gonna think about articulation and slower movement here. So you're gonna lift the sit bones, then the head, and then do the same on the way back. So lift the sit bones, lift the head, tailbone under, head drops. So again, just working within our own limitations. That's it. Now find the breath, you guys. Big inhale, big exhale. Really loosening all of those muscles around the lower back, right? I'm sure you've had a tight back at some point in your life. Even right now, you might have a tight back. So this is something fantastic you can do and get an immediate result. How you feel here, Kamar?
Feeling great.
All right, and then we'll go into our second mobility exercise. Just be careful, make sure you're not lightheaded from all that breathing, take a breath, and then safely come up into a standing position. So if you have low blood pressure or anything like that, just chill out for a second. All that breathing from ground to floor, you might get a little lightheaded. So check your balance, stand with feet hip distance apart. Let's breathe first. Take an inhale, you guys, let me hear you breathe. Big exhale. So you're gonna step your left foot back. Your right foot is forward. There's a bend into the left knee, and those right toes are pointing straight up to the ceiling. You're gonna reach your arms out in front of you, and you're just gonna tilt forward from the hips. And as you inhale, you're gonna bounce up. Let's go, you guys. So take a big inhale, and you're moving with your breath. Big exhale. Great. So again, the idea here is to think dynamic movement, so you're moving with your breath. And we're getting into that hamstring again, into the back of the leg. So think of this as the parking brake on the other side of the body. So the hamstring connects right at the bottom of our sit bone, which is the bottom of our pelvis. And so by keeping the spine nice and long here, as opposed to stretching with a rounded spine, we're safely stretching those hamstrings. It might not feel like a big, intense stretch, but because of the nature of this mobility with the breath, you're gonna find you'll get better results and you're gonna have a safer result because we're keeping the spine nice and long. So check in right now, maybe go to the tutorials, just make sure you're practicing this one safely. You wanna make sure the spine is long and you're just working within your range of motion. Let's do 2 more, this is great. Big inhale and exhale. And every time you exhale, you might get a little more range of motion. Awesome breathing, Kumar. Nothing makes me happier than lots of breathing. All right, left leg forward, right leg back, a little bend into that knee. Arms out, reach those arms forward. Let's move the body. Let's go, you guys. Big inhale and exhale. Great. And again, if you have long hamstrings, which maybe you're just born with, or maybe you're a dancer, like my friend Shar here, you're gonna have a little more agility here, a little more range of motion. But even here, even if you know your hamstrings are long, sometimes we might round into that spine. So again, every time you hinge forward, think of a string pulling your chest forward as you get that nice length into the spine. Beautiful. And again, we're keeping that dorsiflexion of the hands, right? Keeping the shoulders packed into the spine. Good. Take 2 more breaths. I lied. Take 10 more breaths. Good. And then this is our mod 1 here with Bartex. So again, if the hamstrings are a little bit tighter, which they might be, all that jumping you've been doing, all those burpees you've been doing, right? The hamstrings, the calves, those back lines are gonna get a little tight. So you're gonna take your time here. Maybe in a few weeks, you're gonna move up to mod 2. Take 1 more breath. Great. All right, you guys, let's come out of that one safely. Take a breath. And we'll go into that second set of cat camel. So go ahead, scoot down onto your hands and the knees. Start with your fingers pointing forward, knees under the hips. And let's go with the breath. So inhale into extension, exhale into flexion. And Shar here could probably move a little faster and have a little more range. She's your mod 3, right? She's got all of this movement into her spine. And if you think about what's happening here, we're decompressing the lower back on every movement, right? So getting rid of all of that tension, that compression that sits in our lower back just from sitting all day long. We're compressing the spine. So now we're opening it, giving that spine some freedom of movement. Great. And this is our mod 2 here with Kumar. So again, he's got these big shoulders, these big body, but we're still getting this mobility into the lower back. Good. And as you can see with all of these guys, they're sweating, right? Even though we're just stretching, we're still getting rid of toxins out of the body, which is the most beautiful part about stretching is every exhale is an opportunity to release carbon dioxide, monoxide, all of that stuff that stresses all of our muscles and our nerve endings out. So think of this as like a rejuvenation for your muscular and your nervous system. All right, you guys, 1 more. And then just chill out for a second, take an inhale. How you doing, Kumar?
A little sweaty.
All right, and we'll go into that second set of the single leg waiter's bow. So again, standing in a neutral position. Make sure you're not dizzy, make sure you're standing straight. Left foot back, right toes forward. Reach those arms forward. And now let's move. Exhale while you stretch. So every time you exhale, that's when you're moving into the stretch. Big inhales and big exhales. Good. Inhaling and exhale. So again, what we do to one side, we always must do to the other side. And Evolve is an awesome program for this. And the agility component, the strength, the core, and the balance, the full program exposes all of your weaknesses, but then gives you the opportunity to fix them. So all you're doing here with this stretch component is stretching all of those muscles that you've been strengthening throughout the rest of the Evolve program. And as you do this, you're gonna go back to that strength program, back to agility, and you're gonna see yourself at mod 2 or 3 the next time, I guarantee it. Good. Take 2 more breaths, you guys. Great. All right, and then slowly coming out of this, step the feet together. How do you guys feel? Good?
Feeling pretty loose
Good.
now.
I'm waiting for you to serve me something. I was waiting for something to arrive. All right, so let's go into the other side. Step the left foot forward, right leg back. Reach those arms out and let's breathe. Exhale, hinging forward. Inhale, lift up. Good. Exhale. How do you feel on the second side here, Miss Shar?
Good. Left side's a little bit tighter than the right.
And this is normal, right? Depending on what we do in our day-to-day life, usually we're dominant on one side of the body. So as you're stretching today, listen to your body. Make sure you know the difference between pain and progress. And one side of the body might feel tighter than the other, and that's fine. And the action here is in that left foot, right? Even if you just were to stand up straight right now and didn't even include any of this movement in, just by lifting your toes up off the floor, you would stretch the hamstring. You can do Evolve anywhere. You can do it in the office, you can do it in the grocery store, you can do it waiting for your coffee. You might look a little funny, but who cares? Fit it in! We just have a few more here. We're almost done. Let's take 2 more breaths. You're doing awesome, Kumar. 1 more big inhale, finish it off. Big exhale, and great. Congratulations, you finished the Express program for Stretch 1. If you have more time, maybe try the Standard or the Extended. Just stretch, just keep moving your body. I'm Jana. Thank you for joining me. This is Evolve.